Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Heroes Show. You got Cory and Nick with you here as always. And in today's episode, we're talking spoilers on episode 9 of Star Wars The Bad Batch, entitled Bounty Lost. Streaming now on Disney Plus. You have been warned. Spoilers are incoming if you have not seen it or the prior 8 episodes. Hit pause on this, go watch on Disney Plus, come back and see us for all the nerdy, sweaty goodness. Nick, how you doing this morning, bud?
Thank God it's Friday. That's all I'm gonna say.
every Bad Batch review is like, man, thank God it's Friday. We made it. Another week is over. So
hey, we made it.
We had a nice little rescue episode here, and you know, Star Wars loves a rescue. All the way back to 1977. I'm Luke Skywalker, here to rescue you. So,
you're who?
That guy. He
that guy. A little short for a stormtrooper.
So obviously we left episode 8 with Omega getting taken by the GOAT himself, Cad Bane, and we kind of pick right back up on that thread here. Crosshair is still hunting after the Bad Batch, but they kind of get away from him, make a jump to hyperspace, and the mission is on to save the kid, which kind of like the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, got some of those vibes here. Although we got to see Omega is very adept on her own, which is cool. She kind of tricked her way out of prison. She's going around on Cad Bane's ship. A whole bunch of crazy stuff happens, but I have some talking points for us to cover, so that way we can keep our discussion on the rails and not be a bunch of assholes for 30 minutes. So the first one I want to talk about, which is a huge reveal, that Omega is a pure Generation 1 clone of Jango Fett.
Yes.
And Omega is referred to as Omega because Boba Fett was referred to as Alpha, which I thought was very, very interesting. The Kaminoans need Omega to be able to continue doing their cloning procedures because Boba is off starting to cement his legacy as a bounty hunter at this point. So a couple interesting things there. You know, we got confirmation that we know the lineage of Omega. So this dispels a couple fan theories that were out there, like her being a Palpatine clone or
thank God
being Force sensitive or something like that. This kind of threw all those out the window. She's a descendant of Jango. She's will we call her Boba's like sister, cousin, something? I don't know.
Relative.
Let's just hope they don't kiss like Luke and Leia, because then it would be weird. But so what are your thoughts on this now that we've gotten a little bit of clarity on Omega's backstory and who she is? What do you think about it?
I liked it. I like that they established that Boba was the Alpha. Of course, I mean he's goated in Star Wars Legacy, so I mean, especially with the return of him in Mandalorian season 2, we get his own show coming out, well deservingly, of course, and you know, of course, the EU books that just furthers his legacy and greatness as a bounty hunter. Can't kill him, can't kill alphas.
He is a hard one to put down. Even the Sarlacc couldn't get it done. So
rightfully so. So, but I also like the reference to Jango Fett, and you know, just her being a pureblood. But I like the dispelling of a lot of theories out there. And as much as we like to theorize things on not just on Star Wars, but on a lot of IPs, right?
Everything.
You know, it's
we get it wrong every time. Cheers.
Yeah, it's fun to do, but you know, not everyone is going to be right, and it's not really about that. It's more so like what really makes sense for the story, and this makes perfect sense. You know, they're not like Dave Filoni's not taking it outside of the range of logic and reasoning about what these clones are really all about. Like, you know, this isn't going to be about, again, like we talked about if Ahsoka showed up, how would that really derail the whole series? It would be about her, not the Bad Batch, not the clones. If they say, oh, well, she's got some mysterious Jedi or God forbid a Palpatine type clone, we already had that mess. Like, let's not do it again. I'm sure Dave Filoni, you know, obviously we know he's the master of story and creativity within Lucasfilm now. So I knew he wasn't going to do something like that. And again, this is about the Bad Batch. This is about the clones. This is about the lineage of the clones going back to Jango Fett. You know, they tied it back to, you know, episode 2, the Clone Wars, from from Lucas's saga. And at that point, it's like, now we can continue on and move on with the series, with this season.
Yeah.
I love the bounty hunter interaction, right? And it's like we get that connection between the clones and this pure blood Omega. So it's great.
Great segue there, because the next talking point I have is we have 2 bounty hunters that are not on the same side of things. Well, nope. they kind of are, but they kind of aren't. So right. It's really interesting. We had Cad Bane, who obviously has the asset, but Fennec Shand is still on the case as well. But it turns out that this time around,
double played.
Right. So Cad Bane was hired by Lama Su, Prime Minister of Kamino, to procure Omega, get her back to Kamino, so that way they can finish what they started with her, and then, as he says in the episode, eliminate her, which is pretty interesting. Fennec is then hired by Nala Se, which is the Prime Minister's right-hand being, or I don't know if they're male, female, whatever, but
she seems like the mother.
And she has a very maternal feeling with Omega. So she hires Fennec to rescue the kid so that she doesn't end up back in Kamino, because she knows what's going to happen. So pretty interesting to see, because bounty hunters, they're out for hire. They're there to make money, and whoever's going to pay them, they're going to do the job.
All about the credits.
Yep, they could be best friends on one job and then trying to kill each other on the next. And I thought that the animation and the fight sequences were spectacular. Very fluid, like actual human looking fight scenes. It didn't look like cartoons fighting.
Right.
The spot where she kicked the thermal detonator and then it flew and blew up, like,
sweep the leg, Johnny. She swept the thermal detonator, Fennec.
She sure did. And Cobra Kai never dies. So
yes.
So good stuff there. Cad Bane also, it was discovered during one of these fight scenes. He has a giant metal plate on his head that was not there during the Clone Wars. So a lot of folks online, and I think myself included, think that this is implying that the duel that he had with Boba Fett that we talked about in last week's review, that was pre-animated and was supposed to be part of Clone Wars, I think that happened already, and he took a shot to the head from Boba, and now he's got a big metal plate there where part of his skull used to be, which to me also opens up the storytelling door for Cad Bane to show up in any material after this in the timeline that they want him to, unless they end up killing him by the end of this series, which I hope they don't. I want to see him in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I have a interesting theory, which is probably wrong, but hey, I just talked about theories being wrong anyway. So
theories are always fun, and we always talk about that. So I thought that was great. It provided, every episode of Bad Batch has a good deal of action, and this was the main action set piece of this was 2 bounty hunters fighting over the kid while the kid's trying to escape from both of them. It led to the 3rd Kaminoan that I don't remember that one's name getting killed. Fennec killed them because they were about to pay Cad for the bounty. So
Fenway, right? Was it?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So my next question, though, talking about this fight scene and where it takes place, is why on earth did the Kaminoans abandon a cloning station that kind of looked like Bespin, right? It's up in the clouds, the sun is setting, it's beautiful, there's no rain. And they went to dark and dreary Kamino. What is your take on it? Why on earth would they do that?
I thought it was very interesting because this is the first mentioning of it, and I think for the longest time everyone thought that this, Kamino was it.
Right.
But did they originate there, and then they decided to go to this other planet to have another facility where they're trying to expand, where they we don't know if that was the original facility that they tried to use an experiment on, but it is very cloudy and very it just looks dank. And again, when Omega goes to the when she's wandering around and she sees those green experimental tanks, and I'm like, I had to say it. I'm like, please God, don't let there be Snoke. Please,
well,
please.
It wasn't.
Please. Right, but
it was like, a Kaminoan in there.
Right. And then once it falls out, because like the head, I'm like, wait a second, let me pause this real quick.
Kind of like an oblong shaped head.
Exactly.
Is it a Snoke baby?
But then I saw like the like just the thin, long limbs and torso and hands. But
yeah.
But so that was also another interesting point. I'm like, are they trying to clone themselves?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
which also brings up the question: do they have their own chips inside their heads?
Yeah, you know, or is that something they were trying to do, and then they decided to, and they figured out, hey, Jango Fett on this human form, the cloning process works better.
Superior fighter, maybe.
Right.
That sort of thing.
It just could be like they're like the actual DNA makeup of them, of him, the torso. Who knows, right? What the scientific explanation would be from Dave Filoni, but and or George Lucas, but
the real reason is they just wanted Tamira Morrison and his thick upper body. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They want Thick Daddy Tem to come in and save the day.
I don't know why. To answer your question though, I don't know why they would have abandoned it. Like, were they forced out? Was it something? Know. Is there a mysterious creature there, or just were they found out upon, or they figured?
So that's what I think it kind of has to be. I feel like they're trying to stay under the radar, because what they're doing is not necessarily like the most morally sound operation on Earth. And if they were found and then they went to a place like Kamino, which if you remember in episode 2, Obi-Wan can't find it on any star maps.
Yep.
It literally doesn't exist according to the Jedi archives. So perhaps someone caught wind of what they were doing, and they just ditched the station and went somewhere where they could hide and do all of their stuff. But what a downgrade from a nice, big, beautiful, puffy cloud, sunny place to little shithole Kamino. But
I know. Weather storm is not.
I know, right? It's weird. But yeah, so it, more questions than answers, which I love. I think that's great. It's like the same thing we got in Loki this week. It was a wonderful episode, but left us with more questions than we had answers. So I want to ask you, because this was the one thing that kind of stuck out for me that I wasn't 100% sold on with this episode. I kind of wished that Omega would have been separated from the Bad Batch for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, she's gone. Oh, she's back in like 30 minutes. And I don't know exactly how much time canonically has passed during this, but it didn't
seem like much.
Yeah, it felt a little rushed. And I think that while the reunion was great, and seeing Wrecker pick her up and like give her a squeeze or whatever was like heartwarming, I feel like that would have had a little more emotional weight to it if they waited another episode or two. Bad Batch has the luxury of being a 16 episode show. It's not 6 like a Marvel series, or 8 like a Mandalorian. So I felt like they could have stretched that out a little bit longer, but I wanted to see how you felt about it too.
Yeah, I agree. That was something I thought about as it was happening, because she's already on the abandoned facility. She gets her little communication device back, is already somehow reaching out to them with a weak signal even. And then I thought it was kind of funny how she just happened to know what buttons to press in order to send out a radio signel. And she's a kid.
It's kind of explained that it's a Kaminoan facility, so
she might be familiar with it. Yeah,
it all just was very plot convenient.
Exactly,
in that regard. So
it favored her. It was. I would like to have seen it go one full episode of them being separated, because it is, like you said, as heartwarming as it might have been when she goes and like hugs Hunter even, right? And it was like this father-daughter moment. Yeah. And Echo's like, Hunter, you have to tell her,
right?
And I think he did what some dads might do, and they don't give it to her like a straight shot, like say
really
Tech
dance around the issue.
Yeah, like they want you because you're valuable to them. It's like, well, no shit, Sherlock, but like, tell me
why am I valuable to them?
Why? Like, look, they're gonna kill you. They want you dead.
Right.
We're not gonna let that happen.
Just say it.
Don't beat around the bush there. Like, just this is how serious the problem is.
Yep.
I agree. And I think that weight not only would have, it might push things in a more terrifying level to Omega, but look, maybe that sort of tension needs to be there for the actual story.
Stakes are important.
right, maybe for us as the audience, we will care even more that she knows how vital this whole survival process is for them. So the whole beating around the bush thing, and then just it being too rushed to like recover her, because it didn't seem like long. Like they jump into hyperspace, she goes to the abandoned facility, she communicates with them through a weak signal, they find her signal,
and she shoots out on the escape pod thing, and then they're back together.
And I'm like, let me guess, they're gonna pick her up out of midair.
Right.
Yep, they do. Okay.
Like I would have loved to see,
it's a little predictable,
if maybe like she shot out in the escape pod thing and they got close to getting her, and then something happened that separated them again and made you wait another week. It's kind of like
Fennec takes her, like gets her instead. Interception.
It's kind of like an old school, like a pro wrestling tag team match when like the one guy's just getting dogged on for like 10 minutes, and he's just about to tag his partner, and then the bad guy like grabs his leg and pulls it away and makes you wait even further. But then by the time he gets to his partner, it's like, oh, the guy's here. Like that moment is the reunion, right? And if you do it too quick, it doesn't have the same the same effect. But,
I agree.
I don't know, but I mean, that's a small qualm. The series has exceeded my expectations so far. So
yeah, for sure.
And this episode, like, it brought the thunder, in my opinion, with all
it was good,
the fight scenes and the plot development. Like, it was probably
Bounty Hunter showdown,
one of the better episodes. This one and the last one back to back were a very solid 1-2 punch. So out of 10, where are you gonna score this one?
I was probably gonna give it an 8.
Okay.
Overall, I don't want to knock it down too much because of again, the slight predictability and the rescuing, but I think because of the highlight points, the lore, backstory, the explanations, all that, I think adds value to it on top of what we already know. That's great with the writing, characters, the animation, all that stuff taken into consideration. So
the animation is a 10 out of 10 for the entire season. It's just it's completely out of this world at this point. I just like watching the show. It's just like eye candy from start to finish. But episode wise, I think I'm somewhere between like an 8 and an 8.5. I'd probably say an 8 just because it felt a little bit too rushed with the recovery. However, all the character development and moving the plot and not just breaking off for the sake of breaking off and doing other missions before we get back to the main story. I love to see that, and I hope they stick with that for the rest of the season. I hope it's just a mad dash to the finish line at this point. So one other point I want to make before we wrap up, if you like the music of this show, the musical score for episodes 1 through 8 is now on Apple Music and Spotify. Cad Bane's theme is like straight up Tarantino-esque, and I love every second of it. So shout out to the Kiner family for a great job on the musical score there.
Very cool.
So that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you think this was too rushed? Would you have liked to have seen Omega stay separated from the Bad Batch for another episode or two? Drop us a comment below and let us know. And if you'd like to support the channel, go ahead and like this video, click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so that way you don't miss another video from us. We'll be back next week with a very sad season finale recap of Mythic Quest. We're dreading it already. Which we're both going to watch today and record over the weekend. So until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.